I moved into my current student accommodation in September 2024, and it is a typical student flat with rooms along a corridor and a shared kitchen at the end of the corridor. For context, I am a postgrad master's student who has lived in halls for 3 years, with 2 of those being a part of the hall warden team. I have never had any issues or failings out with other flatmates. One of the girls who shares a bedroom wall with me, let's call her A, is from a Muslim background and grew up in the Middle East. The girl on the other side of me is from a part Muslim, part Buddhist family, let's call her B. A and B both attend the same university as me but are on different courses. To clarify, in my accommodation I did not get to choose the people I live with, and the rooms were all assigned randomly. I did not know A or B at all before moving in here. Also, the flat I'm in only has girls, which was apparently an option when booking but was not something I chose. I just ended up in this flat, and would have been happy to be in a mixed one. Also, the all-girls flat means that the residents identify as girls, but I am still allowed to bring a male guest and have him stay overnight up to 3 nights a week. I have double-checked this with the accommodation staff. I has also brought a male guest over recently, and he stayed here overnight. As far as I can tell, she isn't massively religious as she buys non-halal chicken and doesn't wear any religious clothing. B is similar and doesn't seem to be very religious. The issue started when I began bringing my boyfriend of 2.5 years over, up to 3 nights a week, which is allowed by the rules of the accommodation. I was initially the only one with problems, sending me messages saying that me and my BF were talking too loud in my room. We were genuinely folding laundry and talking together, not a euphemism, when she sent me the message. She also sent another one when he was on the phone to his sister, saying that his talking was too loud and she was trying to do university work. He claims that she has also been glaring and rolling her eyes at him in the kitchen, although I have not personally seen this myself. Now, I did leave my BF in the kitchen by himself a few times to wash up or get a snack/drink, and A also complained to me about this in a conversation about 2 months ago, initiated by her knocking on my door. I said that I understood and apologized. I do not leave him alone in shared spaces in the flat anymore, not even for 5 minutes. A also complained in the same conversation that her and B could sometimes hear me and my BF having sex. She didn't directly say sex, but said she and B could hear things that they really didn't want to. She that it was making them feel uncomfortable. I was pretty embarrassed and said we would make an effort to be super quiet from now on. I don't think we were ever super loud. We don't want people hearing any more that they want to hear us, but from that point on we have been really careful. We also never have sex during 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. These are the hall's official quiet hours, and we know that the walls are a bit thin here. However, the complaints continued and became more petty. It is worth noting that all of the complaints that I have had have been during non-quiet hours. Things escalated on Saturday around 5 p.m. when, after me and my BF had just had quiet sex and were lying in bed naked together, I got a loud and angry knock on my door. I quickly got dressed and opened the door in my pajamas to find A and B stood there looking super pissed off. I went to the kitchen to talk to them, and they said they could still hear me having sex. They told me that I was being super disrespectful and gross. I was embarrassed but said that I was doing my best to keep things quiet, not making any verbal noise at all. B claimed that there was still a lot of banging, and that a poster on her bedroom wall had fallen off because of it. I said that that made me sound like a crazy person and that we hadn't been doing anything during sex that would account for that level of movement. Anyway, we couldn't reach a conclusion. I kept saying that I was following all the rules and being as considerate as possible, and that I had already listened to some of A's complaints and adjusted my behavior, but that the only solution for me now seemed to be to stop having sex or talking to him in my room. I said I wasn't prepared to sacrifice that much when I wasn't doing anything wrong. I also mentioned that I can often hear B talking on the phone through the wall, and that I just put my headphones on and ignore it, because dealing with some noise is part of living in shared accom in a city. A and B kept saying that they didn't want to hear or know about any of my sex life, and that my BF has a deep voice so it comes through the walls easily. They said it was disrespectful and going against the privacy of the flat for me to keep bringing him over. I emailed the accommodation staff and told them what had happened. Me, A and B had a meeting yesterday with 2 members of the team. Again in this meeting, we couldn't reach a real resolution, and there was a lot of fence-sitting from the staff. I brought up her Muslim background, and we were all told by the staff that we should be accepting of those from different faiths. I said that I have total respect for others' faith, but that their morals shouldn't dictate my own. A and B were also told that I wasn't doing anything wrong, which I appreciated. Interestingly, I then said that she'd rather my BF didn't come over at all, which was a bit shocking to hear said so directly. The staff asked her if he had done anything to make her feel uncomfortable, and she said no, but she disliked the male presence in our flat because she grew up in an area with a high level of male/female segregation. I said that I'm not going to stop or reduce his visits, but I will continue to accompany him in all shared spaces. She said she still didn't feel comfortable with that. I feel as though they have focused on the sex as a way to attack me for bringing my BF over, because it is embarrassing and very personal. It feels like slut-shaming. Things have been more awkward than ever in the flat, with me slamming cupboard doors when I am in the kitchen either by myself or with my BF. A and B will often, I think deliberately, sit at the kitchen table together at meal times, so that I have to either sit with them and be totally ignored, super awkward, or go back and eat my food in my room. If I'm in the kitchen by myself, I jump every time I hear the door open. I feel really upset and uncomfortable in my own living space, and I don't know how to fix this. What should I do? AITA.